Question. Did resource related to the event that you guys presented in?
Oh,
Do we share that?
Yeah.
let me share that. I muted people. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Are we good though? Keep starting.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're live. We're live. So I remember.
Okay.
All right. Good evening.
Yeah, you can text the chat.
Good evening and welcome
We have a
to
question.
on third day of Congo week. My name's Keith. I'm with Friends of the Congo, and we have here the Free Congo Philly team, Sister Varvara, Sister Wata, and Brother George, who are going to give us a presentation on Patrice Lumumba. So sit back and enjoy the show.
All right, peace, y'all. Welcome. Yeah. Welcome, y'all. We're just waiting for more people to come in and setting up the live. Nice. Drive safely. See some folks from yesterday. Welcome back, y'all.
Hi.
Hey, Nia.
I didn't even know that I had my mic on.
I was like, I love
Familiar
to
faces.
get
Please
on the
Iman.
mic.
I'm not gonna.
What's up, Imani?
Oh yeah, please, people, feel free to get on mic. Put your cameras on. Yeah, please don't shy away now. This is supposed to be safe space, but you can keep your camera off too if you'd like. No.
Hey everyone.
Hey.
Oh my god, my laptop
Peace, Michelle.
Restarting.
How's everyone tonight or this evening?
Good. Day 2.
Yeah, we have, I would say, maybe give it 2 more minutes and then we can start. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, that's cool.
Couple housekeeping things. So today we are live with Friends of the Congo as well on their platforms. And in addition, we're going to be recording this video, this teaching. So if you don't want, your name or your face to be live or recorded, you're welcome to change your name. You're welcome to turn your video off. If you're comfortable leaving them on, you're welcome to. So it's really up to you. Just wanted to let you all know.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you. Oh, another. Let me see. All right. Yeah, I think V, if you want to throw up the slides, that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just trying to
introduce ourselves. do introductions.
This meeting is being recorded.
We're live. Yeah, do you want to start off, Watson?
Hey y'all, welcome to Congo Week, day 2 of the crash course, but just day 2 of the many events we have this week here in Philly. My name is Wata. I organize with All African People of Revolutionary Party and Free Congo Philly. Pass it to you, Avi.
Hi, y'all. My name is V, and I organize with Free Congo Philly and with Friends of the Congo.
Oh, my mic is still. That's scary. I didn't unmute myself. But peace, everybody. My name is George. I use they, he pronouns. I am also an organizer with Free Congo Philly and Black Alliance for Peace Philly. And yeah, I'm showing up. I was a lot more anxious yesterday. Today I feel really calm. I ate before this, so maybe that helped. But yeah, I'm always happy to be engaging in dialogue, sharing this knowledge, this analysis, and yeah, just like having these conversations that need to be had, and hopefully that translate into material happenings. But yes, food is key. Ashe, I would say ashe. Okay, see, I'm on my phone, so I'm like, V, can you throw up the slides? But I'm just looking at the panels, but the slides were up the whole time. Anyway, welcome to Congo Week. Like Wata said, this is our day 2, but I believe this is day 3 in terms of like internationally. And yes, this is our second day. This is our second day crash course. I'd like to bump again that we do have other days happening. I think we actually have a slide dedicated to that. So if we can go to the next slide, I can talk. Yeah, V, could you talk a little bit about this fundraiser we're doing?
Yeah, thank you. We're doing a fundraiser for La Synergie des Femmes. This is a coalition of organizations that work to ensure that women who have been victims of sexual violence get medical, psychological, social, and legal care. And so we have our Cash App and our Venmo over here. This is our accounts, but we're going to transfer the amount we make at the end to La Synergie des Femmes through Friends of the Congo. And in addition, if you want to learn more about this organization, the QR code to the left, the big one, it takes you to a website where you can learn more about it.
And yes, just to emphasize, 100% of these funds will be sent to this organization. We are not pocketing any of this money, and we will be making sure we keep those receipts because it's valid to question that, because obviously, the society we can live under. But 100% of the proceeds will be going to, I don't want to botch the name, but La Synergie des Femmes. That's the best French you can get at me today. But if you go to the next slide, B. Also, can I get Wata, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Or V, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me fine? Am I lagging? Oh my God, Jesus. No.
We can hear you, Coach. We can hear you.
Am I lagging? Oh, am I? Okay.
Yeah, we
here.
hear you. To the slides.
Okay. I just lagged so hard. I'm like over here losing my mind. Okay. But yeah, Wata, give me a thumbs up. You can hear me clearly.
Yeah, folks are saying they can hear you too.
It's just me. I'm lagging so hard over here. But all right. I know the next slide is the Congo Week event, so I'll just yap about that real quick. Obviously, we're on day 2, October 21st. Patrice Lumumba. It's so funny. Anyway, Patrice Lumumba. We're gonna talk about Patrice Lumumba, his rise, why he was assassinated, his stances, and what he means ultimately, and his legacy. And then tomorrow will be our last day of our teaching crash course event. We will be discussing more about mining, the role of Rwanda, and obviously imperialism as a whole, and then just talking about current day happenings as well. And then you could also join us on Saturday, the 25th. We will be hosting a film screening / discussion. We'll be filming soundtrack to a coup d'etat. We will be providing light food as well, and masks are required for both events. but I'll say it again, for the community building event that will be taking place on Sunday. This is a space for those who are engaging in this work to come and engage in community healing, talk about the struggles of organizing, engaging in organizing, and, just the struggle of just having to exist in this very violent, chaotic world. And then hopefully we can help manifest that into a means of, humanizing ourselves, building deeper relationships, and, setting intentions for how we can better organize amongst one another moving forward. So please pop out to that. We will definitely have food. We have some interactive activities happening as well. It will be a vibe. And yeah, I think I have nothing else to say for that. Okay, I need to take a deep breath because I just was lagging and everyone was like, oh, we can hear you. And I'm just like, was over here tweaking. So I'm gonna take a deep breath. Feel free to join me. I think mindfulness is very important in the struggle. Life can be so fast, but slowing down can be good. So yeah, I'm gonna take a deep breath. And I can feel like the anxiety when I exhale, it's like hitting like rocks on a bike. It's like boom, 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 boom. But we're gonna power through. Next slide. Actually, let's get into it. Day 2, Patrice Lumumba. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you for the love. Day 2, Patrice Lumumba. We will be talking about this revolutionary, Pan-African, anti-imperialist, anti-colonial leader, and one of Congo's national heroes. Next slide, please. So Lumumba was born on July 2nd, 1925. I think that's Cancer. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. But he was born in the Katako Kombe region of the Kasai province. And Vavar, how do you pronounce the ethnic group he was a part of?
Tetela.
Tetela, yes. He was part of the Tetela ethnic group in Congo, in the Kasai province. Lumumba, his family was, I believe, Catholic, but engaged in, European religious, I would say, churches. And he got schooling in a Protestant missionary school. And Lumumba, at a very young age, was seen as very intelligent, very creative. He was writing poetry. He just seemed like he gave off, a lot of energies that, could align with, Western academia. And he was able to basically obtain higher education because of his, one, just being in the missionary school, but then two, being able to show like the ability to be, I guess, more intelligent, however that shows up. And this actually put him in a class called the Evalués, which just basically means he was able to get access to higher education, which was heavily deprived from the Congolese due to the oppressive natures of the Belgium regime. And yeah, he worked as a postal clerk in Kinshasa. But I wish we put this in this slide, but I want to talk about how he was arrested for embezzlement and forgery. He was seeing the contradictions at the time, seeing how the whites who are doing the same job are being treated better, being paid better. And he was like, obviously that innate wantingness to resist, he's like, nah, I'm gonna take what's mine. And yeah, he was arrested. He was arrested for about a year. And he actually wrote a book in it called Congo, My Country. And again, thinking about that connection from his childhood to like him growing up, he also had poems published in the Congolese press. Next slide, please. So this is not really too deep, but just Lumumba getting his feet wet in the political arena. He started off his journey in the Belgian Liberal Party in 1958. Again, contradictions were arising, as you would see, just like how basically what these people will be talking about. He has obviously different aspirations we will see moving forward, but just the contradictions of being amongst Belgian colonizers trying to be politically active probably made Lumumba's blood boil. But then further down his political journey, he becomes a member of the MNC, the Movement National of Congolese. I'm sorry if I'm botching that. And this was a group created of multiple different. Congo was, regardless of how it was drawn up during the Berlin Conference, Congo has an immense amount of ethnic group, tribal groups, and a lot of those groups in the eastern part were able to be a part of the MNC. And this just shows that it was an organization filled with not just one group of people, but various groups of people. But there were political, I would say, ideological differences further down the line, and there was a split. And basically, there was an MNC that Lumumba was leaving, and there was an MNCK that I believe was in the Kasai Luba region, or Kasai Luba. And yes, Lumumba also attended the All African People's Conference. This was hosted in Accra, Ghana. Kwame Nkrumah was spearheading this. And Lumumba gave a speech that day that was really powerful. And the phrase Lumumbaism was kind of coined then, basically saying, you know, what Lumumba speaks, you know, expresses is this innate wantingness to be free from colonial rule, imperial rule, you know, oppressive conditions. And yeah. And then when he came back from that speech, he was, I would say, actually go to the next slide. I feel like that better explain. Okay, yes. And then after this moment, his political party becomes the party to basically take over the Belgian government once it leaves during this process of independence. And as a result, when independence was achieved, Lumumba was the first prime minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Lumumba, during the independence negotiations that happened in January 20th, 1960, Lumumba was actually not allowed to be present for those first talks because of ensuing violence. And we wanted to make sure we uplifted moments of resistance, because we understand that, like, the society, you know, capitalism wants us to think like only focus on this one person, this one figurehead, you know, because it's easy to take out one person and then the movie can die off of that. But there were instances of, you know, the masses, you know, resisting. And yeah, I don't want to say it's connected to Lumumba, but I just want to uplift this moment that happened on January 4th, 1959. So a political group called Abaco called for a meeting at the YMCA, and Congolese, who, you know, rightfully so, were energized, you know, fired up for this, you know, this transitional moment. Belgium's about to leave, the colonial oppressors are about to go, and it's our turn to have a voice in what takes place after. But, you know, not unsurprisingly, the Belgian mayor denies that this meeting can happen. So you think about it, okay, we can't even have the space to talk about these things. What else can we do instead? What's the next step? So there you could see Congolese in the street throwing rocks at soldiers, burning European-owned businesses, beating up on white European motorists, and anything that represented a white supremacist symbol was basically attacked or destroyed, burned. And this was a 3-day event as well. And yeah, there was an estimated, I don't want to say it's 300, is probably less, but there was a very large amount of martyrs. But yeah, that is just a moment we wanted to uplift. And yeah, independence, oh, sorry, I said early on independence was achieved on May, but that's incorrect. Independence was achieved on June 30th, 1960. And there was this event basically to just kind of, I don't want to say celebrate it, but just have, you know, these final conversations about, you know, this transitional moment. And the king of Belgium went up and basically talked about how Congo was in this prosperous state because of the role of King Leopold and the Belgian, you know, colony. And if you know anything about these two instances, 1885 to 1908 and then 1908 to, you know, independence, these were atrocious times. And Lumumba obviously is thinking about that. And he wasn't even scheduled to talk, but he just goes up there and he's like, nah, my people suffered at the hand of the colonizers, and my people resisted against those colonizers. My people are still resisting today, and my people are resisting to be free from, again, colonial imperial rule. And yeah, that caused the King of Belgium the same night to fly out of Congo and go to Belgium. So again, Lumumba, he was, you know, somebody who was staying on business. He would not allow for these colonizers to put out these faulty, awful narratives about, you know, the real happenings that were happening to the Congolese. Next slide, please. So, I'm gonna drop the link after I get off because I think this is my last slide. But Lumumba, I'm gonna read a little bit of Lumumba's independence speech. Again, I'll be dropping a link for people to, have access to the whole speech if they would like to have access to the whole speech. But yes, the Congo's independence is a decisive step towards the liberation of the whole African continent. Our government, a government of national and popular unity, will serve its country. I call on all Congolese men, women, and children to set themselves resolutely to the task of creating a national economy and ensuring our economic independence. Eternal glory to the fighters for national liberation. Long live independence and African unity. Long live the independent and sovereign Congo. And like, this lights a fire in me. And this is just a section of it, and it's just, again, it's this directness of, this is our, our demands. This is where we want to be going. This is what we are, this is what we are rightfully, I can't get the words, but just, it should be rightfully, already just happening, accepted, but obviously the contradictions of capitalism and imperialism, it needs to create these conditions, which we'll expand on more on the next slide. Okay, so reflections. I know I just kind of said a lot. I low-key need to take a deep breath. I feel like, please feel like if you would like me to go review a part maybe I was going too fast on, but yeah, just overall reflections, use the chat, hop off mic, and I also offer a question: why does Pan-Africanism pose a threat to Western capitalism? Yeah, please, we have like 5-7 minutes dedicated to this. Yeah, I mentioned Kwame Nkrumah. He was like, I believe, the Prime Minister of Ghana. And he helped Wata, make sure you hop on and check me if I'm saying anything wrong. But he was a Pan-African, and he helped host the first all African Peoples Conference. Okay, Zora says, oh, go ahead, Wata.
No, I was gonna read a comment. Go ahead.
Oh no, you can read it.
Zora says Pan-Africanism calls for. Someone else wrote something. Hold on. Calls for the diaspora to unify, and unity among the oppressed threatens the oppressors. Right. So we're unified, they can implement those divide and conquer tactics. So the masses will be together in ideological framework. The masses will be together in protecting the resources so they can benefit the Africans, right? And someone else said, Jay, the people united will never be defeated, and that transcends to all areas where oppression reigns, right? If we're in the struggle together, fighting a common enemy that is the greatest threat to the imperative to the colonizer. Webb said, I think Pan-Africanism poses a threat because Western capitalism is built on whiteness and seeks for resources. Yeah, that definitely depicts the primary objective for King Leopold ruled for Africans to be expendable in pursuit of wealth, and is built on that racist, ideology, degenerate ideology that Africans are not fully humans and not equipped to anything good. The other comment here, y'all coming hard. I can't keep up with y'all. Aisha said, because of how much the West benefits economically from Africa's exploitation, and Pan-Africanism is definitely in contrast to that. You want to read some, George? My computer's here. these are so yes, these are very on point. Like everything here is on point. There's a question here that we want to get. Vanessa, do you see that? I'm trying to
what was Lumumba's
scroll down, but my laptop is messing up. Go ahead.
What was Lumumba's overall popularity with the people? Civil rights leaders in the United States during the 60s weren't popular with Black or white by the majority. Lumumba was very, I would say very popular, very, very backed by the masses. And I think obviously large part because a lot of the masses were subjected to exploitation and wanted an answer to be free from that exploitation. And, Lumumba offered that. Obviously, his actions also intensified it because it's like, okay, the theory, but the material too, it's like, okay,
Right.
we're making it happen. We're making it happen. So, yeah, I think in comparison to the United States, that's always interesting to me. Like, I think about like the Black Panther Party, even like MLK. Like MLK is like obviously spearheaded to be like the peaceful, and like obviously that does a disservice to his political growth. But obviously he is spearheaded by the systems as this like peaceful protest or like nonviolent. But he was still assassinated by the United States, so let's not get it twisted. But yeah, he was still very unpopular. So that again could attest to maybe America's innate conservatism. But I don't want to dive too deeply.
Let me hop in. Lumumba was very, very politically powerful because he had the backing of the masses. Even certain officials, even in the UN, said that a simple speech by him can change the situation in half an hour. He was that powerful.
I see a hand up, y'all. Web? Is that still a hand?
I put my hand up, but I feel like maybe this is it could be like I don't know, not a good question, but I guess I'm just gonna ask it anyway. I guess my question is whether or not like y'all see Pan-Africanism as like comparable sort of to like the civil rights movement in the US, like, or like no, that is not like I don't know if that's kind of a stupid question, but
I don't think it's a stupid question. I'm worried about time because I feel like it's a really good question. At least just like to reflect on. I don't know if Wata or V wants to answer. I did kind of just hop on. Okay.
I don't know. I just real quick. I just said like comparable. I think well Malcolm did his pilgrimage right when he went to Ghana and he was speaking to Kwame Nkrumah and trying to politicize folks here in the States to identify with as the African identity, right? And further that objective being more organized and having objectives to liberate the people here. So I think they definitely overlap, and Pan-Africanism extends like from the continent is where all African people are, around the globe. So I think it definitely compares as that was like the primary objective of Pan-Africanism, and it spanned over to the civil rights movement with you see leaders, with MLK, like Vanessa was saying at the end, he was, for the workers, right, shifting that ideology more so from not reformers, but more so for economic sovereignty, right, for distribution of wealth and reparations in this country, right? And not just so much for civil rights. I'm ranting now. So I'm gonna I'm gonna cave it in. I'll give some of an answer. We could get back to it later too. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you, Walter. I still feel like even within like these like historical moments, we can still be critical about the shortcomings, because we don't want to just. It's not like if we at least try to be scientific, we can't do the same thing and expect a different result. Like we have to be like, okay, this was done and this is what happened. But obviously conditions change, So very great question. But I think for the sake of time, we should transition into the next phase. Bavara, please take it away. Thank you so much to everybody for your offerings. Thank you, Webb, for the question. And maybe at the time we could talk more. But all right, take it away, V.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Wata. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Okay, we're going to dive into a lot of information now. But before we do that, I want to quickly go over certain terms and certain people so that you can kind of put a face to the name, and you can also kind of know, because certain names were different back in colonial times, and then now they have a different name. So when we talk about Leopoldville, today that's Kinshasa. Kinshasa is the capital of Congo. Elizabethville today is called Lumumbashi, and that's the major city of Katanga. And then Stanleyville today is Kisangani. Now, in terms of the people, the one to the very left is Joseph Mobutu. He was a colonel at the time that we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about the 1960, essentially, 1960, 1961. President Mobutu then became a dictator right after that. That we talked about a little bit yesterday. Joseph Kasavubu was the president at the time that Patrice Lumumba was prime minister. Moise Tshombe was the leader of the coup in Katanga. Dag Hammarskjöld was the UN Secretary General at the time. And Antoine Gizenga was the deputy prime minister of Lumumba's government. Lumumba led a powerful anti-colonial mass movement. It was so powerful that Belgium opted for accelerated decolonization. In other words, decolonizing the country very quickly without giving space to the new government to prepare, in an attempt to stave off the growing radicalization of the Congolese masses. They planned to keep control over Congo by having Belgian advisors to Congolese leaders and by keeping control over the Congolese National Army. This movement pushed the masses to the fore for the first time, with hundreds of thousands of people attacking the colonial edifice. This movement was preventing the installation of neo-colonialism, so the imperialists wanted to stop it before it grew. After independence, Belgium counted on the Congolese Army's Belgian officer corps as a means to control Lumumba's government. However, Lumumba made it very clear, with his words and with his actions, that he took Congo's complete independence very seriously. On July 5, 1960, the Belgian commander-in-chief of the Congolese Army, General Janssens, who was Belgian, stated that there would be no Africanization of the army and drew the equation before independence equals after independence, to which Congolese soldiers rebelled immediately. Lumumba's government took the side of the soldiers. Lumumba described it as a strike, Janssens was relieved of his duties, and the soldiers were invited to appoint African officers. This began the Africanization of the army, and this greatly bothered Belgium, who had lost a key means to control Congo's new government. This is also when Joseph Mobutu became the colonel and chief of staff of the Congolese army. Lumumba's government not only Africanized the Congolese army and raised their wages by 30%, they also invited public employees and the African proletariat in the mines and in the factories to stand up for their rights and to make social demands. This led to a wave of strikes on July 12 and 13, and this greatly bothered Belgian authorities. This pre-revolutionary dynamic had to be destroyed at all costs, since it was preventing the escalation of neocolonialism. This turn of events made Belgium look for another way to keep its control over the Congolese government, and they saw the potential secession of Katanga as an opportunity. Belgium was directly involved and responsible for Katanga secession. In fact, Katanga secession was key to Belgium's plan for reconquering Congo and having leverage over Lumumba's government. Katanga is one of the provinces of Congo. It is towards the south. It is one of the richest provinces, containing huge deposits of cobalt, copper, and other important minerals. And Tshombe was the leader of this secession, the Congolese leader. The Belgian government decided to intervene in Katanga. They sent in Belgian troops to support Tshombe. They disarmed the Congolese army soldiers in Katanga and paved the way for Tshombe to defy Lumumba's government and to declare the secession of Katanga. Then the Belgian army attacked a number of cities across Congo, using the mass exodus of European settlers to justify their intervention, but in reality, their motives were political. These were reconquering operations, and it was all to undermine the Lumumba government's sovereignty. On July 12th, Belgian and Katangan forces denied a plane that was carrying Lumumba and President Kasavubu access to Katanga. That's an example. of showing what was happening. And the UN actually supported Belgium this entire time. UNOC was created on July 14 to support the Congolese military until they could, quote, fulfill their task properly. Brussels was requested to withdraw its troops, but Belgian intervention, which attacked Congolese sovereignty and violated the United Nations Charter, was not condemned. No date was set for a Belgian withdrawal. In addition, the UN adopted the Belgian argument, the protection of life and liberty in a context of chaos, thereby giving it some legitimacy. The UN armed forces went everywhere in Congo except in Katanga. While Brussels strengthened Chombe's regime in Katanga unhindered, the UN kept the legal Congolese government on a tight rein. They rejected all bilateral aid to the legal Congolese government, for example, by the USSR, Guinea, Ghana, and other countries, and they made this aid go through the UN. Lumumba's deputy prime minister, Mr. Gizenga, he said, "The UN forces allow Katanga to consolidate secession and let the Belgians behave as if they were in an occupied country under the smokescreen of a phony Katanga provincial government that we, the legitimate government of the Congo, have declared illegal." On July 28, Belgian King Baudouin wrote to UN Secretary General Dag Hammarskjöld demanding that he reject any claim of sovereignty over Katanga by the Congolese government, and Hammarskjöld reassured the king, saying that in his eyes, Lumumba, the legitimate prime minister, and Chombe, the leader of a coup, had the same constitutional rights. On August 12, Hammarskjöld reassured Katangan minister Godfred Munongo, saying that UN troops could not remain indifferent if the Congolese army under Lumumba attacked Katanga, and he told him that, "Your position would seem to me stronger than Mr. Lumumba's." The UN Blue Berets, who are the soldiers of the UN, gradually took over from Belgian troops in certain places, including in Elizabethville, which is the major city of Katanga. The UN leaders shared the West's agenda to destroy the legitimate government of Congo and to remove Lumumba. Meanwhile, Belgium and the West used the press to demonize Lumumba. Lumumba's government was overthrown by 2 separate coups, and this is the first one. Before that, on September 1st, Colonel Mobutu decided, without consulting the Congolese government, to end the fighting in Kasai. He was preparing for a coup d'etat. Around then, the CIA made Lumumba's removal an urgent and prime objective and a high priority. This was partly to prevent any possibility of a communist Congo, that is certainly the justification they gave, but it was also to install neo-colonialism so the West could keep exploiting Congo. On September 5, President Kasavubu, with help from Belgium, the UN, and the US, carried out a coup d'etat which overthrew Lumumba's government. On September 5th, Kasavubu ordered the radio station and all airports to be closed. Right before, he read a message on the radio stating that he was relieving Lumumba of his position together with 6 other officers. Lumumba responded also on the radio by denouncing Kasavubu's action and dismissing him. The UN, of course, without hesitation, supported Kasavubu. In a telegram to UN General Cordier, Hammarskjöld stated, "The chief of state clearly has authority under Article 22 to dismiss prime minister and to appoint new prime minister. Prime minister's apparent attempt to dismiss chief of state and set up popular government is clearly extra-constitutional. General legal conclusion that in present circumstances, UN is compelled to deal with chief of state as only clear legal authority." But in reality, Kasavubu's coup was what was unconstitutional, as Congolese law gave parliament and not the president the right to relieve a minister or the government of his functions. So Kasavubu received protection. The UN was closed. The UN closed the radio station and airports. They closed the airports in the interest of the maintenance of law and order, in quotations. And this hurt Lumumba because he did not have a means to communicate, to mobilize his supporters, while the other side had an anti-nationalist station broadcast from Congo-Brazzaville, which is the country right next to Congo, the Republic of Congo. Airports were closed to non-UN aircraft, so the movement of nationalist troops was restricted. On September 7, the United Nations clearly showed its bias when a Sabina aircraft carrying 9 tons of weapons was allowed to land at Elizabethville without any difficulty. The overthrow of Lumumba's government was the result of a whole chain of unconstitutional actions. The United Nations played a decisive part. By its de facto recognition of the secession of Katanga and its protection of the province, the UN contributed to the secession of South Kasai, which is another province, and the dismantling of the Congolese state. Meanwhile, multiple plans to kill Lumumba were being formed. And at this point, I want to pause and ask if people have questions. I know I just shared a lot of information. Oh, and also I want to say all this information that I'm sharing with you all is from this book. If you can see it, this is The Assassination of Lumumba by Lulu DeWitt. So I'm gonna open the floor for some questions or comments or what's coming up for people.
Hey, I have a question.
Hey.
Were other African nations aware of what was happening at this particular time, or did the shut off of the radios prevent like transnational communication also?
That's a good question. What the George, do you have an answer?
Yeah, that's a very good question. But I unfortunately am not too sure. I wonder what it would be like to have communications in these type of moments between various Pan-African leaders at the time. But yeah, I'm not sure. But thank you for that question, because I think that's
like today. I feel like some people would at least, you know, make some statements, if not pledge support to one side or the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, Lumumba in terms of
absolutely.
Oh, go ahead, Wata.
No, I was just gonna connect it to the Sahel state and how President Traore was speaking about what's going on in Congo. So yes, you're right. Like current day African leaders are more prone like to speak out. And I believe vividly, I remember studying like at that time with Nkrumah speaking. I don't know if it was post the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, but yes. Of course there was support from Ghana from Nkrumah. And there's another comment in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Question.
It says, you mentioned that Western media published things smearing Lumumba. What did they say about him? Yeah, they were using, language to demonize him. Let's see if I remember any specific things that they were saying.
I know that we're in the Cold War era too, and like Lumumba tried to like get assistance from the United States in terms of like actually developing, the Congolese-led government, but America obviously denied. So Lumumba did reach out to other, groups, nations at the time, some that America was not, taken too kindly to, and basically with the intention of wanting to continue to extract from Congo. That was the intention around writing that piece. But yeah, I think it was more just to like build like consent from the American masses to like basically go forth with, just having Lumumba be assassinated.
And yeah, in addition,
we
they
have
called
a hint.
everything.
I was gonna say we have a hint too, Jojo.
Yeah, I just like from what I've read, at least like kind of on George's point, like because the US wasn't giving any like monetary aid, they accepted aid from the Soviet Union, and so they like some people in the comments were saying this a lot, but they like called him a communist. It's like one of the biggest
things. Yeah. And this is why
they'll go into that too in the soundtrack of a coup d'etat. So they'll go extensively into that.
Not you finding a way
was the communists were thrown around about home? Yes, we just confirmed that. Yeah. So those were some of the smear campaign and probably call him a dictator. That's the regular.
Yeah. And thank you, Jojo, for hopping on. And thank you to the people in the chat. I didn't even see it, but I think obviously I was not trying to use specific terms because I wasn't like too confident in my own like knowledge of it. But like I was like, sure. But at the same time, like I'm happy people were able to like, connect that final dot. And that's what community learning is about. So much love.
Does anyone have any other questions or any other?
I had asked this question in the chat a little bit ago, but
What did you mean when they said the phrase before independence equals after independence?
Ah, okay, yes. So Africanization of the army, that means, so previously the army had Belgian officers as part of the colonial infrastructure, but then so then Lumumba, what he did was tell them, you can appoint African officers. So the before independence equals after independence was this Belgian officer who wrote, so I don't know if he wrote it on a board or what he did, but he wrote this sentence saying that basically nothing in the army was going to change from colonialism to the present, and that things would remain the same way they were during colonial times. So that's what that meant. So the soldiers were like, hell no, we're not, no, we want independence. So that's why they rebelled. Did that answer your question?
Yes, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm seeing for the sake of time, V, I think it'd be good to keep going.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So now we're going to cover there were many assassination plans. This is how badly the West and his political rivals in Congo wanted to kill him. There were so many plans to assassinate Lumumba, and we're going to go through some of them. Firstly, Operation Barracuda. This was Belgium's plan. This plan did not involve the Congolese army. They would have a former colonial officer by the name of Dedekin kidnap Lumumba and assassinate him with the help of about 30 Congolese men, which they trained for that purpose. Also, with the help of two particular men that Belgium sent over, one was an intelligence expert and the other one was an officer of a commando unit. Then Belgium's Minister for African Affairs would cover it up. The Minister for African Affairs gave green light for this operation, but it didn't go anywhere. The CIA had multiple plans being enacted at once to kill Lumumba. The first one has to do with poison. CIA scientist Gottlieb was sent to Congo with a box of poison to mount an operation to either seriously incapacitate or eliminate Lumumba. He briefly visited Congo in early October and left the poison in Leopoldville. After Lumumba was captured by Mobutu, the CIA station head in Leopoldville said he threw the poison into the Congo River. The second plan that the CIA had was an assassin. In early November, the CIA recruited from Europe a foreigner with a criminal past, an assassin with a code name QJ/WIN, who was, in quotation marks, capable of doing anything. He arrived in Congo on November 21st. After Lumumba was captured by Mobutu, the CIA canceled this operation. And the third plan they had has to do with a cordon of soldiers that I'm going to talk about in a second that were surrounding Lumumba's house. Another plan was to keep the cordon surrounding Lumumba's house and meanwhile organize an attack by a small independent squad of the Force Publique. Force Publique refers to the Congolese army. They would entrust the Belgian officer from Operation Barracuda, Dedekin, with a commando action, while the CIA would supply the material needed by smuggling it to Katanga. This plan also didn't go anywhere. And this is the second coup. This is Mobutu's military coup. On September 14, and this is 1960, Mobutu staged a military coup. That night, he announced on the radio that he would be neutralizing politicians until the end of the year. The UN and the US played an important role in the success of the September 14 operation. The UN financially supported Mobutu's Congolese army that conducted the military coup. On September 6, the UN sent $1 million to the Congolese army. That money, of course, came from the US. Belgium also financially supported Mobutu, and in turn, the UN and Mobutu supported Chombe. The UN troops even ended up fighting against the opposition to Chombe within Katanga. After the September 5th coup, the UN had troops surround Lumumba's residence, so that's what we mean by a cordon. So it was a line of soldiers around Lumumba's house. The house you can see here on the left. In the middle, these are UN soldiers surrounding his house. On the right, this is him, the arrows pointing to him, and you can see the soldiers outside. On October 10, Mobutu's forces also surrounded Lumumba's residence. From then on, he was under house arrest. Lumumba was now protected, in quotations, by a double cordon of soldiers. This was to cut Lumumba off from his power base and to bring about his political death. Lumumba was also without a telephone and had restricted access to everyone. Shortly after that, the UN leaders told Lumumba that he was under the protection of the UN only while he was in his house, and that if he left, they could not guarantee his safety. This meant that they would only protect him while he was politically inactive. On November 27, Lumumba decided to try to escape to get back to Stanleyville, where Gizenga, his former deputy prime minister, was regrouping nationalist forces. Around 8 p.m. that evening, a car drove out of Lumumba's residence with Lumumba pressed against the front seats at the feet of the passengers in the back. They succeeded in leaving. Lumumba's wife, Pauline Opango, and their little son, Roland, were with him as well. From the moment they noticed he was gone, all of those who wanted to kill him were on the search for him. Mobutu even asked for support from a European airline for an aircraft and a pilot specializing in low-altitude reconnaissance flights to go above the land and to spot him. Lumumba and those accompanying him made slow progress, partly because of the terrain and partly because many of his supporters wanted Lumumba to make a stop and give a speech. On December 1st, they were crossing a river to get to Stanleyville. Lumumba's family waited in the bank for the boat to return, and Lumumba went back to get them. There he was captured as Mobutu's soldiers caught up with a group on the riverbank. Some say that Lumumba didn't know that they were there, while others say that he knew and he went back to try to negotiate with them to set the rest of the group free, which he initially succeeded in doing. The UN leaders issued direct orders to the Blue Berets to not protect Lumumba. After he was captured, then he was beaten, tortured, assassinated by firing squad on January 17, 1961, alongside two members of his government, Joseph Okito and Maurice Mpolo. And these are photos at the bottom right. This is Patrice Lumumba in the middle, Maurice Mpolo on the right, and Joseph Okito on the left. And passing it on to Wata.
Yeah, I'm speechless. Every time you hear it, it's sentiment, emotional sentiment. Vanessa has a question. They said, was there any figures within the DRC or outside that inspired Lumumba to run in the first place? Do you mean that, someone called to give a warning, Vanessa? Or where he was going to go in exile to? V, do you know that? Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there was someone specific who inspired him to flee. I think he just decided, because he was basically under house arrest, he decided, enough is enough, to try to get out to regroup with his comrades so that they could, try and figure out things from then on after the two coups.
Right. Yeah, I think it was like a rush, spur of the moment thing, emergency response thing, right? And then all the other dots would have fall in place. So yeah, and this history is so dense, so there's always another angle we have to know more about. So we're so glad for these questions, and we're always asking, we're always bringing up a new angle of Congolese history or just history in general. So those are the things that we're very interested to know about. Now, Lumumba, just thinking about that in-depth description of this constant effort with Belgium and the U.S. to assassinate this prominent African leader, just showcase the insidious, terroristic nature, of those states. And the legacy of Lumumba cannot even be contained on this page. So we're just going to review a couple of it here, but nonetheless, this was a person of great integrity, great empathetic nature, and he really truly cared for his people. And he was a great threat to the global capitalist campaign, as we can tell, which why there was so much effort to get rid of him. And he was a staunch anti-colonial, right, stance. He was a firm Pan-Africanist. He was with the ideology with Kwame Nkrumah And he wanted Congo to prosper, to be independent, to be a sovereign state. So everything on that land could benefit the Congolese people, right? He advocated for the end of colonialism in Congo, and as a Pan-Africanist, you know that extends across the borders of the Congo. He spoke to the challenges, right, as well as the solutions. So it was not just rhetoric, you know, like some of these neo-colonial leaders who claim they're Pan-Africanists or they're revolution, not even revolutionary, they're leaders. Just leave it at that. Lumumba actually had a plan and solutions to put these objectives into place. And yeah, when he spoke, like we heard about the campaign with the independence, right? He spoke to the hardships of the Congolese people, right? How they suffer under colonial rule, and the people what were aligned with him. The people knew he was a dignified person. He was with the people, like Drew said, in the street. He was a Evoli, academia, but he was with the people organizing and, you know, just resonating with, you know, their struggle as well. And yeah, he was about action. Like we were hearing, he was trying to Africanize the Congolese army and take course with changing that colonial regime and practices. Most importantly, he advocated for national unity instead of focusing on like particular ethnic group. Like we heard about some of the national movements were just pockets of different ethnic groups. Lumumba wanted like full unity. He wanted a social revolution, and that's important to forego reconstruction within a country that has been colonized. So let's just look at some of his proposed policies here. One, he wanted to reinvest within Congo of all of the profits made by government-owned companies into public institutions like education, health, infrastructure, and healthcare. We know during the colonial era, there were schools built, hospitals built, but the Congolese people did not have access to any of those things. And in fact, there were about fewer than 30 of them who were university graduates. Can you imagine that land masses of people? That's just a huge contradiction of colonialism. Industrialization, in order for a country to be economically independent, you have to move forward with, you know, industrialization. Lumumba had that objective indefinitely. He was preoccupied with the Congolese people becoming highly skilled, right? Paying for them to travel outside of the Congo to gain those skills in contrast to the type of labor they had during the colonial regime. And more importantly, he was for the full totality of the masses. He wanted to develop peasant associations and cooperative and rural districts. So he had a class consciousness. He didn't just want to develop one part of the Congo and leave another in destitute. So he was for full totality of the Congo. But just to tie it all together, Lumumba cared greatly and unite greatly with the people. He wanted them to be free from all of the atrocities that they endure. He wanted them to be secure on the land to reap the benefit of their labor, of their resources. He wanted them to have human freedoms like we all deserve. So I know you guys most definitely know about Lumumba and his legacy. You guys can put some in the chats. I mean, it's endless, but we must remember Lumumba, you know, he still lives on. Revolutionary never dies. He lives in the youth of the Congo who are, you know, following his teachings and are organizing to liberate their country. He left behind an extensive legacy that shaped resistance in the Congo and the rest of the world. Right? Is so much more to say. Long live Patrice Lumumba. I mean, long live Patrice Lumumba, our revolutionary ancestor. Yeah, so we're going to transition into reflections now. If anything is coming up, long live, Eric, long live, period. Like, yes, even saying the name, right, is a call to the resistance. Absolutely. So just put anything in the go ahead, George.
Yeah, just because I know it's 7:00. I don't know if people have other commitments, but Patrice about to read this question. Well, I can read them real quick. And I was thinking we should leave up the QR code slide. But why did the West assassinate Lumumba, and then how does this assassination impact the sovereignty of the Congolese? Please feel free to hop off mic or type in the chat. But I'm thinking we should at least put up the QR codes. That should be
or just hop off the mic to uplift Lumumba, the whole struggle.
V, do you mind going to the next slide with the QR codes? Yes, thank you. Yeah, just so that people, again, if they would like, because we are fundraising, if you would like to just know it's 7. I know people might have other commitments. I'm still, obviously we can still talk, but just in case people were wanting to go and wanted to still donate, these are the QR codes to the Venmo, Cash App, and then obviously if you want to learn more about what the goals of the organization is, there's info for that as well. But yes, I'm sorry. Was that too, like, did I take too much? Like, did I take too much space? Watsa V?
No. I mean, it's like I said, this history is, and then when you start talking about it, like other things come up, like Vanessa have a comment in the chat asking, is there more information on the other 2 gentlemen who were assassinated with him? Right. And yeah, and when we do look at, there's backdrop to this. There's folks that was organizing, that was in unity with the upfront leaders. Like we think about I said that right. There was another person who was also in Cuba with her. So these are some of the loose ends and history that we have to also be inclusive about when we're talking about these things. But I don't have an answer to that question. The 2 other gentlemen who were assassinated with him?
I have a partial answer.
Okay, go ahead.
Partial answer. This book is really good. This book is The Congo from Leopold to Kabila, and it talks about the MNC and Lumumba's government. So in terms of learning about them, besides, like looking up online, go to the reading list, the Friends of the Congo, and they have a bunch of different books that are specifically or have part of it talking about Lumumba's MNC, and those, I'm sure those will have information about those 2 leaders.
Yeah, so many resources.
Yes.
Yeah, let us know if y'all staying. What else y'all doing for Congo Week? Any other? Have y'all been on Friends of the Congo website to check out other happenings, other things, or in your respective areas? Oh, nice. Thanks for putting the link in the chat. Thank you for coming. This was amazing. We're just trying to piece each day different sections of history of the Congo. And we're so glad for these reflections and these questions you guys have had to redirect us to go and study more. Thanks for the donations too, y'all. We see it coming in. We gotta hop off. Have a good night. Thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight. We hope you guys have a good rest of your evening.
And we also have more events. Don't forget, we have more events on Saturday, Sunday, tomorrow as well. Please feel free to join us. And yeah, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you to those watching live. Thank you for being here. We love you all.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the live people. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for Friends of the Congo for supporting us with live streaming this as far as possible. And cheers.
And like I said, if you're interested in the slide, hit up the Instagram and we could send it over. Send your email over to the Instagram. Thank you, Vanessa. Ashe. We receive it, the affirmations.
All right, I'm gonna close the Zoom. Take care, y'all. Good night.
Good night, y'all.
Are we all 3 do this now too?
The recording has stopped.